Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Faith Family Focus. I am one of your co-hosts, Faith Suggs, former Duke Women's Basketball graduate and currently CEO and founder of Brand by Faith, my social media branding company. And this wonderful man next to me is my father, Schaefer Suggs, former NFL player with the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals, and has also served on as VP and on the executive board for the RPFPC, which is the Chicago chapter of the NFLPA. Good morning, Dad. How are you? Happy Monday.
I'm doing great, Sunny. You Sunny girl.
Just bringing the sun in.
That's
Um,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
How are you? How was the weather? How was the weekend? Are we officially in fall yet?
Yeah, it was a beautiful weekend. We started out on Thursday. We won our flag football championship.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah. Thank you.
It's applause.
Applause. Yes. Yeah. We did really well. The kids had a lot of fun. It was really nice being on the sidelines. Well, I was coaching and coaching with your one of your favorite coaches, Coach Smith, was also, but he was the defensive coordinator. I was the offensive coordinator, and he allowed us to score, so we had a good time with that. So
I've always been wanting to ask you now that we never asked you. We've had so many shows on youth sports. Is it the same as the last time you were coaching?
in what regards? Um,
Let's go, parents.
Parents, interesting, yes. Very similar. At that age, you have a very you have new parents for the first time ever having their kids play football. Um, had a wonderful set of parents. We had a third coach that we had to really kind of coach up a little bit. But it was very similar, and I tried to, in my last final email to the parents, because I could not make the last game. It was a makeup game that didn't really matter. To encourage the uh, participation in sports and make sure it's a healthy experience, and realize that it's all about fun. And you always want the kids to come back, and be realistic about your kids' uh, abilities. At that time, they're not really forming their abilities. Some kids will be a lot better than others, but the most important thing is making sure the kids come back the following year. And I thought I made it fun. We did a lot of fun things. Um, we did a lot of things that a lot of other teams could not do. And
Why do you think that is?
well, because I was able to have enough patience and translate a lot of the scheme of football into fun acronyms and words. My plays, there was a jet sweep right, we call it Batman right, or Spider-Man right, and the wings were the spiders, and instead of the wing and the flankers, and then as the season progressed, I gave them the real word. So okay, the spider's also the flanker. So I introduced it slowly during the course of the year, and some of the parents now they didn't get it in the beginning, because they were coming out. Even Coach Tony was like, they get on Madden and they understand these things, but then to correlate those and transition those into the to
Mm.
real life football, still pretty challenging for them. And but it was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to possibly doing it again. It was really nice not having to coach my own kid.
Yeah.
It gave me a very good lens on things, and I was able to identify and share things with the other two coaches. Um, that why it was important for someone to be the head coach that didn't have a kid, you know, and because it allowed me to be very very neutral, and so it was a very good experience, and for that reason, I think it's as much as I love uh, my downtime. I think an important part of my life right now continue is to add that back into my life, and that's continue to coach the culture, the positive culture of sports, and continue to watch kids develop, because Tony's son Tyson is an athlete. Of course, Tony wants to catch every ball, but he, as you well, that's his DNA. So, but it was just great. and it was a great experience. And basketball's coming up, so I may even look at, and I'm talking about at an early age where you can have the patience to help them develop their skills, because that's what happens, and I think that's happening with women's girls sports right now, is that they're not starting early enough with their skills. And I think you were very fortunate to get in an environment where there was a demand on making sure that you did the skills right. Dribbling both hands, the triple threat, the closeouts, the box, all those things.
Yeah.
You're never too young to learn that stuff. You don't want to get to the 7th and 8th grade and not be able to do certain things. And that's why I really want to get back into it.
Right. And I'm just glad you had a good time. And you guys, once again, for those joining us, he is now the flag football champion. What age group is that?
It was 8, 9-year-olds.
8 and 9-year-old champion of flag football.
We had one kid that was 6. That was 7, actually.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a fun group.
Yeah.
But no, we definitely enjoyed also hearing your stories, and we are excited. It's fun that age, like you said, but it's more fun because it's like they're so moldable. They're so much more eager to just like do it, right? And then there's no like, right? Parents say things, but they aren't able to be at that age to really comprehend and understand. Right? They're just trying to do their best. So it's fun when you have kids who really have no baggage going into it. Big news in Chicago. Chicago Sky is officially your WNBA 2021 champion. This is their first championship, and this is the first championship in basketball, I believe, to the city since Michael Jordan.
Yes. Well, the White Sox or Cubs?
I said basketball.
Basketball. Okay, basketball. I'm talking about total. It's still it's up there in the first.
The Cubs won. The Blackhawks.
Okay, but it was oh my God! It was just so. I was sitting there, and I completely turned. I was watching the Bears, and I said, as soon as the Sky come on, I'm off. And then it was just exciting.
Man. It was. It was exciting. It was emotional. Sold out crowd. 2 games in a row in Chicago. They play at the what they used to be, I think it was Allstate. Did they change the name?
No, it's a brand new arena.
Okay, they play
at Wintrust Arena. It's brand new. It's where the Paul Blue Demons play. It's down. It's brand spanking new. Beautiful. Wintrust Arena. Yes.
Yep. So just a reminder. So that's just wonderful stuff for the city of Chicago. Wonderful year for the WNBA. The 25th season of the WNBA. The women's game in total is really only 55 years old. So it's amazing to kind of see the community grow in these 25 years. And it was just awesome seeing them, display the all 25 team, right? All 25 women of the little silver medal of the year and of the WNBA history. And it's just wonderful to see them all and then get to see, Diana. We don't know if that's going to be her last season. We watched Sue Bird kind of close down. We don't know if it's going to be her last season. It's just been a wonderful season, I think. And I think that you can see it's growing. It's growing and it's growing, and it's been really fun to watch, especially this season.
Right. I'd like to spend a little bit more time. I want you to talk a little bit about the game itself. I thought it was really a well-played game.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, I thought Taurasi was pretty intense in the beginning. I thought that might hurt them, but she settled down a little bit. But what do you think about the game? What's your?
I think that Diana Taurasi she wasn't Diana Taurasi the entire series. I think Brittany Griner, of course, was the biggest person to step up for the Phoenix Mercury. Skylar Diggins, of course. But yeah, Diana was hurt. And then obviously Diana's just older. So she's not the same Diana Taurasi we once knew. And she's a little chippier. I'll say that. But she was like that every game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was her game. This game, she was the least. Candace Parker obviously was great, but she wasn't the eyes. I mean, Vandersloot, Copper. I mean, it's just amazing. Vandersloot set the record for the most assists in a series in the 3rd game with 40. Like if you watch her game and how she sees the game, it's just very impressive. It's almost like she's 2 steps ahead of everybody on the court. And she always throws you to where you're supposed to be. So yeah, great
Throws the
stuff.
ball, throws the ball. How about Steve? I think she reminds me a little about Steve Nash.
Um, Rondo.
Yeah, yes. Just really.
Rondo. More Rondo than Steve Nash. I think she obviously I know why you compared her to Steve Nash, but I think
No,
that
that's not reason. It's just the way that they play.
yeah, well, I think she's a better than a Steve Nash type of point guard. I think she sees the floor different than Steve Nash does. I think Steve Nash was a great leader. I think Steve Nash was a great talent. But when you look at a player like Rondo, who's still in the league, and we've seen his career grow over the years, his ability to not only pass within one person but two people is one of the biggest things that I think is the comparison. I think because she plays off screen so well, but her attack coming off the baseline, coming around, trying to see between posts is even better than we've seen. And I think that's just kind of a newer age. But she was doing that in college with Gonzaga. When she took Gonzaga to the tournament. So this is nothing new to the women's game. I'm just glad she's getting, the flowers she deserves because she had a wonderful series. She had a wonderful season, but an extremely impressive series. And then, of course, Allie Quigley, Chicago kid, just like Candace. Impressive as well. She shot lights out. She was hard. She was struggling game 3, but I think game 4 she did an amazing job. So it was just all together wonderful to see. That organization was 16-16 on the season, so they definitely should not have won the WNBA championship, but they really rallied. And once again,
Like 7 or 6 or 6 seed.
16-16.
They're the 6th seed, right?
Yes, they're 16.
Right.
But the Mercury wasn't that high either. But that's WNBA. That honestly, that's just basketball in general. You can't ever really predict unless,
Right.
You can't. But wonderful season. Those women will be champions forever. It was just fun to see and fun to witness Lexi, of course, win her championship. This is her first championship. She's been in a couple Final Fours, of course, but this was her first championship at a professional level, and so that was nice to see.
Right.
But altogether, just wonderful. I mean, the city really showed out. I saw so many people come to see them play this series in Chicago at Wintrust Arena. It was just awesome.
Well, even in Phoenix, seeing the Phoenix Suns come out, sitting in the front row, it was really nice to watch the support. I know that, and I embrace it too. I thought Chicago could have even probably been a little bit more. I mean, it was doing the Bears game, and it was still packed. It was still sold out.
Well, that's the thing. Every sport has their own fan base. Right? You probably have WNBA fans who won't watch the Bears. Right? Who aren't tuned in every Sunday. You probably have hockey fans who have never watched the Bulls. Right? So it's sometimes your own community is some of the best things you can invest in. And that's what I think the women's game is doing such a great job at. By investing in the community that they're in, investing in getting them on TV, like we talked about a couple shows ago on The Huddle, they are really growing an awesome fan base. And it's so inspiring to kind of see the game grow. It's only 25 years old, right? The game and I are really only the same age. It's people forget that about the WNBA, right? They set these high expectations on it. It's still growing. It still has great places to go. The NBA's been going since Peach Baskets.
Yeah. I hope that the city celebrates their win, just like any other championship. I'm not sure if I am familiar with that they got to do some kind of parade for them or not.
COVID, but because the Lakers didn't even get a parade.
Right.
So we're gonna have to see, but they likely will. I think they did a wonderful job. They put sky jerseys on the Lions and I don't know if you've seen all the stuff around the place, but it's a wonderful. I think Chicago did a great job. I really think Chicago did a great job. I think that was probably the perfect setting for them to play in. I think that they had football players turn out. They had Chance the Rapper turn out. We had Jesse Jackson turn out. We had everybody who is somebody in Chicago come at least see one of those games, and that's honestly a big step for the women's game, considering Chicago hasn't been in the finals since 2014,
right.
And it's a completely different dynamic than what we're seeing around the women's game now.
Right. No, it was good. I thought it was at the end of the game to watch Candace come over, and that really helped a lot too. The Candace come back home, and win it here after long career already,
Yep.
and see her embrace people that her father, her mom. That was neat.
Yeah, that was, yes. If you guys looked closely, it was wonderful. Just seeing her giant daughter. What the heck? Did you see how tall her daughter is? She's 11.
What the heck? Which one was her daughter?
Hat.
With the hat on?
Yes.
That was her daughter.
Yes, that grown person. Oh my goodness, it's not even fair.
Wow.
Seven's what, 6'7"? She's what, 6'4"? Oh god.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, but really awesome. If you guys haven't caught it, just go look at the clips because it was just a fun. Or you could just watch the end ceremony. It was just awesome. But to take a little pivot, we had an awesome show on Friday.
Oh my god, it was unbelievable.
With the huddle. For those of you who did not get to catch it, we had a great guest in magician George Stanton. He is from Detroit, Michigan, but he's based in Chicago. He's a former college athlete as well, but he turned his life over to magic over the last couple of years. And he's been traveling all over the United States of America, and soon he's going to be international. But he's worked with people from the cast of Power. He's been working with Black in Chicago. He's performed for Jamie Foxx. He's performed for Alex Avant. He's performed for all these people.
Yeah.
And he came to us, and he spent maybe a half hour to kind of show his gift, and it just was awesome. So we have a couple clips from what the show looked like, and maybe his first. We got two, so let's go to this one.
Can you think of let's say a good memory, something in your life that happened to you that stands out? Maybe not like the birth of Faith or your other son, because maybe I could guess that, and maybe I could have researched, and maybe, I don't know. Nothing that I would be able to guess, but a good memory.
Okay.
Let me know when you have something in mind.
Yes.
Okay, you agree I should not know what this memory is?
No, you shouldn't know.
Okay, can you focus on this memory, and can you try and recall the exact time that you think this memory happened? So when I say time, I mean like 8 o'clock, 3:30, 5:15, 7:45, whatever it is for you. I don't want you to say anything out loud, but let me know when you have a time in mind.
Okay.
You have a time in mind?
Yes.
You agree that I should not know what this time is?
No.
Okay, do me a favor. Look at me. And right now, this is Chicago time, 9:39. You see that on my watch?
Yes.
But I'm going to set my watch to a different time. I don't want you to say anything out loud. Just look at me. So I'm going to do this. Okay. I'm also going to set this in the glass so I can't touch it. I can't manipulate anything. I'm committed to this. So, Schaefer, you thought of a memory. You haven't said it out loud. For the first time, it's okay if you say the memory out loud?
Yeah. Scored a touchdown on Monday Night Football.
Okay, and how long ago was this?
1979.
Okay, and what was the time that you thought this happened?
9 p.m.
So you could have thought of literally any good memory, right? And then a time that went with this memory, but you thought of scoring a touchdown, Monday Night Football. You said 1979?
Yes.
At 9 p.m. Now, you saw I was setting a time on my watch.
Right.
I wasn't for sure if this was going to apply to you. I'm going to pull this out. Schaefer, can you see the time that I had put on the watch?
Yes. That is amazing.
Such a good. I mean, he just did an awesome job. Then we have one more, a quick one. This one was, I think, my favorite.
Is this the Montreal one?
No, Montreal was too long, but this one was his first one. The first one he got you on.
Schaefer, there's red cards and black cards. Do you want red or black? It's up to you.
Give me red.
Are you sure?
Yes.
If you're not sure, you can change, but it's up to you.
Red.
Okay, Faith. Schaefer said red. Out of the red cards, there's hearts and diamonds. Do you want hearts or diamonds? It's up to you.
Hearts.
Are you sure?
Yes.
If you're not sure, you can change.
Hearts.
Schaefer, there's number cards and face cards. Do you want numbers or faces? It's up to you.
Give me numbers.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Faith, can you name a number up to 10?
7.
Okay, so we had red from Schaefer. Faith, you said hearts.
Yes.
And Schaefer, you said number. Faith, you said 7. So the 7 of
Yes.
hearts, correct?
Yes.
Is there any way that I could have known the 7 of hearts would be the outcome of this?
No.
So Schaefer, the final decision is up to you. You can keep the 7 of hearts, or you can change it completely, but it's up to you.
Okay, I'll change it. Excuse me.
What are you changing?
2 of hearts.
Okay, are you sure?
Yes.
Is there any way that I could have known you would change the 2 of hearts?
No.
Do you feel as though I could have influenced you to change the 2 of hearts?
No.
Okay, so from the beginning, I told you I put something in here that I was hoping would apply to you guys. I'm gonna keep this in view so you'll be able to see. Can you guys see the deck?
Yep.
Yes.
Can you guys see how if I go through these, most of these are face down, meaning that or face up, meaning that you can't see them. But there is one in here. If you guys can make that out.
You're good right there.
Face down. Can you guys see the one card that I turned face down? Schaefer, you changed last minute to the what?
2 of hearts.
Yes.
I mean, and it's funny because, I mean, you have no answers for why he does it or how he does it. It's just, I have tried over and over again to figure out how he did that trick. Even the small ones, the cards, the one where he did where you guessed with the picture. I've seen him be able to get a person's phone number, right? He puts their phones together and all of a sudden their phone lights up. Or it's just amazing. He's amazing. And once again, that's at GS Magic. It's George Stanton. He's based in Chicago, but just a wonderful show. He did such a great job.
I was blown away.
I knew you would be. I thought you would like that. You like that stuff. So I think I think that type of magic is better than David Copperfield. I think David Copperfield is like I don't know. Honestly, David Copperfield got too big. I wanted to go see him in Vegas. There was a hologram. There was aliens and stuff. I was like, this is not magic. This is a show. But I do really like this style magic because it's still the old-fashioned street magic where he'll go around. If you ever see him in Chicago with his videographer, and George will just go person to person and just do a trick and throw them off. It's just pretty cool to watch.
Do you know that our first big date was at the Holiday Star in Maryville? The mommy and myself, and we went to see David Copperfield.
Nice. I knew that, considering I'm your child. But yes, amazing. Yes, I was able to see David Copperfield, and I was not at all impressed. But I will say this. I am the type of person who likes magic that's more like raw in a way, like more without the fluff and magic and lights and all that stuff and no cutting anybody in half. I'm good on that stuff. I'm more interested in like, how on earth did you get that card in that deck to be the exact card you were talking about? That's magic. Because then I'm starting to think, did he tap it? Is this a magic deck? Are the cards magic? But remember, he said when he showed you that 2 of hearts, the rest of the cards all of a sudden went blank. So that was creepy. But just a wonderful show. If you guys missed it, it's on The Huddle. It's right below this one on Facebook. Or you can go to E360 TV and type in The Huddle. And it's there as well as any faith family focused show you're looking for. So what a wonderful show. And I'm really excited. But a quick intro into today's series.
Wait, I have to congratulate you. You have to share the viewers that you were just awarded a nice account under the Faith by Brand, and I want you to share that with the audience.
Brand by Faith.
Brand by Faith. Brand by Faith.
Yes, I have a wonderful account. I'm now partnered with Brand by Faith is partnered with the RPFPC, the NFLPA Chicago chapter, former players. So wonderful, wonderful account.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is very on brand for Faith Family Focus.
You are so silly.
But let's dive into, since it's a wonderful thing, we're talking about career achievements, let's dive into our wonderful series about mental strength. We had an amazing show, I think. I think last week was 2 really good shows. I think Monday's show about self-discipline was awesome. I think that we really dove into a great intro into talking about this stuff, talking about kind of strengthening your mental brain. And even after watching the Sky play, and you watch someone like Candace Parker after the end of her career, she's nearing the last couple of years, go back to her hometown city, win the championship in her hometown 1 year in 1 season. I can't help but think that this had of conversation is very much correlating with that when we talk about mental strength. So I wanted to do a quick recap on self-discipline and what we talked about. So number one, some of the things that can help you with a good mental strength by forming great self-discipline habits. Take a cold shower every morning. Number two, which is hard. Number two, meditate, pray, or sit in peace for at least 10 minutes. Number three, begin your day with 100 push-ups. Blah. Begin your day with some sort of exercise, whether it's squats, whether it's getting up immediately once your alarm goes off and stretching, doing some yoga. Number four, make your bed. And we'll talk about this one in today as we talk about habits. Number five, eliminating distractions around you in your environment, in your workplace, on your TV, on your computer, on your phone, whatever it is, navigate and figure out what those distractions are and figure out how they help with your self-discipline. And number six, the last one, quit complaining. And we talked about quit complaining, but acknowledge when you are tired and find a way to figure out your way through it. So an awesome show on Monday with 6 steps on how to form a great self-discipline mindset that'll help you with creating a wonderfully strong brain. And so we are very excited for today. We're going to move on to series part 2. We're going to talk about forming healthy habits, which some would say is very close to self-discipline, but self-discipline is very much hand in hand with forming these habits that'll help you achieve your goals. So I gave it over to the guru, our life coach, Schaefer Suggs, with the Inner Winner Series Toolbox. And he will talk with us today, and we'll all both have a great conversation on forming healthy habits and how it's important when we chase those goals we set in front of us.
Yeah, good. So, are you getting it?
What did you say?
Are you getting it? No, you're not hearing it.
What?
I'm hearing it. I don't want to make sure you're not hearing it.
No, we're good.
Okay, good. So it gets back to, we talked a lot about strong achiever drive. We talked about setting goals. We talked about the creating, and I'm working on it right now, is the Circle of Life, a tool to use to allow you to help accomplish your goals and move the needle. But in order to do that, there has to be habits around that. And forming habits can be really difficult. And I think a lot of it gets back to setting goals, and same thing as setting habits. Sometimes we don't set up expectations. Make sure that they're easy to accomplish. We often mask our bad habits in our as personality traits and take them casually, but they could be expressions of sometimes deep loneliness or fear. This happens a lot with kids as they generally disenfranchise from what's going on. They are stressed. They get to a point of no return when they're trying to accomplish their goals. And, as a member of a team, I found, you want to excel at a certain thing. You got to remember that one thing that really helps eliminate all that, and that's working hard, really trying to work hard. And we need to do that. And we need to acknowledge how difficult forming habits are. And forming those habits is something that's redundant to a point where it's automatic. Like this morning, I woke up and I have a habit right now of making my bed. And what accomplished that, I necessarily didn't say I'm going to reward myself for making my bed, but I've done it so much right now to a point right now where I'll get up and I'll make my bed. I'll make my bed before I take my shower. And it's something that I get back to. How do you get to a point where, and I think, Faith, I ask you, what is the number of days it takes to form a habit? I think it's what?
21.
21 days. 21 days. And, it's to a point where it's almost automatic. I watched Diane Taurasi. It's almost habit. I mean, she shoots those free throws. I don't know how many free throws she shoots, but she does it so much that it's a habit. It's almost the way she sets up, the way she releases, it's a habit. And I think it goes back into confidence. It goes back to setting the right expectation for a habit. It goes back to rewarding yourself for accomplishing a habit. It goes back to a lot. I don't know if you want to comment on that or not, Faith.
Yeah, so I agree completely. One of the biggest things that you said is that it's hard for us to acknowledge the very beginning of a habit, which is the hardest part, right? Forming them, because it takes 21 days. If you really wrap your head around it, that's almost over a half a month, right? And so we know how long 21 days is. That's hard to stay disciplined in every single day. But once you get to those 21 days, we wish we could say we're golden, but it only just gets easier. But you're still trying to continuously form these habits and have consistency in your routine. And that's what I'm glad you said, is that forming the habits isn't always easy. But when we can acknowledge that it's a process, when we can acknowledge that it's a journey, an uphill battle, then we are able to kind of see the growth. Then we're able to see the journey and what it's worth. And I think Monty Williams said this, the Phoenix Suns coach. He said, everything you want is on the other side of hard. And I think that's the very definition of all of this, right? We form habits. We put our mind to things. We write our goals down. You're going to talk about in a second. But when we can acknowledge that this is going to be kind of a process, when we acknowledge that this is going to be an uphill battle, that's when the growth starts. Because then you're being honest with yourself that, yes, it's going to be hard, but you can do it. And then you start to see yourself grow and your goals become more reachable than they were before.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that. We talk about healthy habits. Isn't it interesting how we always say, I got a bad habit? Where does bad habits come from? How do they happen?
It's funny because I think that's true, because at the end of the day, it's so much easier to make bad habits than it is to make easier habits for some reason.
Right.
But it could be whatever it is for you that doesn't align with what is on brand for you, right? If your goal is to be the president of the United States, bad habits would be to sleeping in past 11 or not getting enough sleep at night, right? Or being on social media all the time and not looking at things that'll help your craft, right? Or not watching the news and really understanding around the world, but instead watching The Simpsons or Family Guy, right? Bad habits are when one thing in your life is higher, right? So say the habits we're doing that are bad are here, but the things that are happening that we need to take to grow are down here. And when that indifference happens, you're not growing as a person, but instead you're creating terrible habits that are pushing you lower and darker down into the rabbit hole. So you want to, right?
Yeah.
Good habits compared to bad habits should be a complete opposite. Then your bad habits consuming your life more than the good habits.
Right. Let me share something with you. It's called the habit loop model. And this is in a book called The Power of Habit. Why do we do what we do in life and business by Charles Duhigg. He's a New York Times writer, and he describes how changing the loop can make you more productive and an instinctual person. Once you figure out what your loop says about you, you can develop changes in your habits that create a positive loop. If you wake up in the morning and check your phone, you can avoid checking your phone until after 12 p.m. This break in a loop may actually allow you to snap out of it and create a new loop based on another task you choose. Here's another interesting piece of it. It says Starbucks employees sometimes get overwhelmed when a customer screams at them. They default to a habit loop and usually get scared and do whatever the customer asks them to do. However, Starbucks intentionally designed a new loop called the latte listen. Acknowledge, take action, thank them, explain what you've done. And this helps them calm their customers down and give them more power to the servers who are making the coffee. The researchers explained the importance of a keystone habit. This is sometimes that time-bound and measurable. This is probably one of the most effective techniques in the habit loop strategy. This basically means that you create a bunch of mini goals, smaller goals, that you do for yourself, and then create a focused approach to winning when you finish a bunch of mini goals. And you get that boost of confidence and more likely continue your long-term vision.
What do you think the mini goals means? Like, for me, when I hear that, I think mini goals at the end of the day is mini achievements.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
little small wins.
Yes.
That keeps you going, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is what that means, right? When you set mini goals within one goal, when you set little habits within one big habit. So if your goal is to make your bed every single day, maybe every single night you stack your pillows on the footrest in a way that'll be easier for you to stack your pillows on your bed the next morning, right? Or maybe
Interesting, yeah.
to maybe sleep on the top sheet because you know you're going to have to work harder when you make your bed in the morning. And so you just make it easier for you to, right? And little things like that. And so you can try to at least give yourself the support you need to achieve these habits and achieve these win the 21 days it takes to kind of form these good, healthy habits.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting, right? Another interesting piece, when I did the research for the show, is psychology of habits.
Yeah.
Professor Wendy Wood and Dennis Runger from USC Los Angeles. They focus on learned behavior of our mind. When we start to make small changes in our commitments and goal setting, we give rise to bigger ones and make effective change. The research also points out that if we fail to set these small daily goals, then we can spiral further into our older habits and may need to work harder to achieve them again. This explains why a lot of younger kids or younger people find it difficult to commit to a habit. They instead rely on default ones and consistently break their own promises. This is key here. When you do break a commitment to yourself, you can expect the same results as you did when you didn't form the goals in the first place. So it's important to set goals that are achievable and then achieve them daily. I talk about what we just previously talked about, Faith. You don't have to compete with yourself, but rather set high standards for yourself to achieve. This helps in restructuring your mind and creating a new neural pathway that can create stronger habits.
What do you think about the age piece? When I think about how it's harder for younger people to set daily habits or even just uphold, we keep going back to the making your bed every day habit, to uphold that habit for the 21 days. It's harder. We talk about athletes and their work ethic. Maybe their daily habit is to make a certain amount of layups a day. Maybe for teenagers, it's doing your homework every day or studying every Sunday night. I think that when you're in that age, I think one of the biggest differences is when you're an adult, you've already learned and already made your mistakes of not being able to complete certain habits, right? We've all failed at certain habits. If anybody hasn't failed at a habit, please point them in my direction because I'm very interested in how they psychologically were able to stay that self-disciplined. It's hard, but I thought it was very interesting that younger people struggle a little more with achieving their daily habits or holding themselves accountable to do that. Because at the end of the day, I think that younger people just have more distractions, right? More TV, more responsibilities when it comes to, sports and homework and stuff like that. And I think that one of the biggest things is that as we grow, it becomes easier, right? But in a different way. I think as we grow, we start to see the consequence of not achieving daily habits in comparison to we get better at it, right? I don't think it ever gets easier. But I think that we start to understand the value and the importance of achieving these habits and how they will benefit us in comparison to when we're younger.
Mm-hmm. No, that's interesting.
Yeah. No, that was just interesting to me. And then I know you do have your first couple steps of some cool habits that help you when we talk about creating self-discipline up on the top of the storyboard. One of the first one is to go to bed earlier. Say that's a habit we create, right? And for example, if we break this down in a healthy habit format, we go, okay, our goal is to go to bed early, right? We're a 20-year-old college student, impossible, but our goal is to go to bed early, right? So maybe that means we eat dinner earlier. Maybe that means we start our homework earlier. When I was in high school, I used to try to do my homework in class, right? Because I knew that I would have workouts and then have to do dinner. And then I wouldn't want to go right into homework. I'd want to rest. So I think that one of the ways we break down if our goal is to go to bed earlier is to find the little things that'll help make it a little easier to achieve that habit, to achieve that goal, right? So whether it's doing your homework earlier, moving up your dinner time, like we said, if you have a goal, if you have a habit that's important to you, you'll do what you have to do to get it done. And I think that's kind of that's a good example for us. Number 2, when we talk about healthy habits, it's balancing. If you're human, I think the biggest one is you have to find time for yourself within creating these habits, within holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Right? Finding healthy habit time for you. And Dad, why do you think this benefits your mental growth, just for you and your own experience?
Well, it gives you opportunity to win, internally win. Um, some people, I think when we go through the development of ourself, we need to understand what really feels good to us for ourselves. We're so used to giving, but not taking care of our own selves. And I'm going through that right now. It's so good for me now to take care of me. Those inner winter, I call it inner winter. It's so good for my mental health. It's so good that I'm doing something for me because we're not used to doing it sometimes. So, it's something that I had to kind of relearn. After many, many years of being a dad, being a coach, I'm going through this completely all over again. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to redefine this again in your life.
Right. Agree completely. Like I said, it never gets easier, but we just start to understand where it lies, where our priorities lie. And again, we start to get maybe more strategic. We start to, figure out what works for us and what doesn't work. At your age, you should know yourself more than I would at my age, right? Each year we start to learn ourselves more and more. And I think that's one of the best benefits when it comes to forming these healthy habits. But when you figure out what your balance, the time you have for yourself, compared to your productivity to achieving these habits, that's the best thing when you can figure that out, right? If you can figure out I'm burned out, so I know I'm not going to be able to achieve the habit. So maybe I should take a 5-minute pause. Maybe I should take those 11 minutes to just relax today. And then I'll go back at it. Those type of things, it's a healthy habit to have when we talk about forming healthy habits, is understanding your limits and understanding that you have to have a good balance between the two.
Remember what we talked about before the show yesterday? Habits and goals. You got to have healthy, good habits to help you accomplish your goals, right? I mean, they kind of go one. They go together, right?
Right.
You have to have, and how much is this habit impacting my goals? And I think I asked you a question. What is the difference between the habit and the goal?
Yeah, but here's the thing: one is without the other is impossible.
Yes. Right.
The habit is our journey to achieve the goal, and the goal is empty without habits, right?
That's it, right. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Luckiest person on earth, you cannot achieve a goal without forming baby habits. It could be as small as waking up in the morning and just getting up. At the end of the day, we achieve habits every single day. We just have to put a value to those habits, right? As much as it's a blessing to wake up every morning, we still wake up. We still start our day, right? It's so much easier to hop back in bed, right? We are achieving things on a regular without even noticing. And so
the habit's almost the gasoline that really helps you accomplish your goals.
Right.
You have to continue to
Yep. And so then I wanted that number 3 was surround yourself with people who respect your goals.
That's important.
That's a habit. But here we're going to talk. That's actually one of the series we're going to talk about is the very environment you're trying to grow in with the people around you is key to your mental strength and your mental ability. And I think that when we talk about surrounding yourself with people who respect your goals, that's a habit in itself, right? On a daily, you have to choose who is for you and who is not for you, right? Who is for your goal and not for your goal? Who is for your process and not for your process? And not everyone can be for your process. If everybody was for the process, we'd all have a million friends and be the happiest people on earth. But that's just not the truth, right? I think in this journey of life, we learn what works and doesn't work. And as your goals change, your friends, your environment, the cities, everything changes as you go through it. And that's just a habit in itself that we're trying to master every single day, right? And that to me is a habit that takes more than 21 days, right? I think that takes a lifetime. I think every person on earth still tries to figure out the right environment and people for them to achieve the goals that they want to achieve.
Yeah, I was just thinking about growing up in a healthy family and how important it is to have people in your life closest to you that support that.
Yeah.
I think we have that. The 3 of us have that, and I know Mommy and I have that. Hopefully, you learned that was the foundation. And what I am observing, you have that in your relationship. It's important to find a partner, find a teammate, find somebody in your life that aligns with those values, aligns with they're not taken away because of their own issues or their own insecurity, but they're adding to it. They're supporting it. It's so important to be in that, to have somebody in your life that way.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is that people, friends, family, partners, teachers, bosses, the people you play and work for is key to who believes in your dreams as well and who believes in your ability. Because at the end of the day, we can say we have the thickest armor on, but it's nice to have people who support you in your corner, because like we said when we started the show, nothing about forming habits and self-discipline and all the stuff that goes into this wonderful mental strength series is possible without support, and is possible without people that believe in you and inspire you and encourage you. Because sometimes, like we said we take time for you. Sometimes you have to put this weight on your shoulders down to rest. And sometimes that's the very people that help you put it back on your shoulders and help you keep going. And I think that's why it's important. And just being in a space, we always grow better. They say flowers grow better where the sunlight shines. You always grow better where people will feed you, right? Feed you with knowledge, feed you with love, feed you with happiness, feed you with support. That type of stuff is good for the soul when we talk about chasing goals and dreams and all the things you want for your life, because it's impossible to do it alone.
Right.
Yeah. And what
it's really important.
Well, yeah, and that's why we made a whole show about it. So we'll get back to that one for sure. Because it's bigger than also just people. It's bigger. It's kind of where you live. It's what you do on a daily. It's kind of what you eat, right? All of that goes down to your environment, right? The outside factors that go into you. So let's talk about 4 and 5 as we're nearing the last 5 or 6 minutes of the show. How does this is a habit, right? The habit of writing your goals down and keeping them in places where you can see them.
Yeah. So you talk about the Post-it notes, talk about putting them in places where they're always there. That's important. They say if you see it, you can see it and believe it, you can achieve it.
Yep.
You have to be able to visualize it, and sometimes writing them down is key. That's why I'm doing it. So right now, if you talk about my circle life, I'm doing that for me right now. I got it written down right now. Spiritual, mental, physical right now. Spiritual, mental, physical, that financial, the 4. I got them. I'm trying to move them. And of course, obviously, those are goals, right? Many goals. And there's habits that will feed that. So I'm working on that, right? That's why this is such a good series for me. But you got to write them down.
Right. And I think when you write them down, obviously we all have heard this at least once in our life, is when you write things down, it's a better chance for you to remember them. So of course you can see them on the daily. You look at them on the Post-it notes. You put them on your ceiling, on your TV, on your computer, but also the very action of writing them down as a habit, right? Writing down your dreams and goals, it makes you more connected to them. It makes them more personal. It makes you remember them more. And it makes you feel like you can achieve them because they're right in your hand, right? It's yours. You own this dream. And when you can own something, when you're possessive of it, you try harder. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces to it is do what you need to do, right? It might be a habit that works for some people and doesn't work for others, but do what you need to do to help you achieve the goal you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And then I want to just stay with 5. And I think this is the one that is key, because I think that we call the show Healthy Habits, right? But habits sometimes can be far from healthy because they can be stressful. And they can be like you feel like you have no chance, right? You wake up on day 13 of trying to run a mile a day and you're like, gosh, I just want to rest today. I deserve to rest. I think when you wake up in the morning, you don't want to run a mile. Give yourself time. And that's what the 5th one is to give yourself time to reassess, to reevaluate, to rest a little bit your brain. And then maybe that evening you'll run your mile, right? Or maybe you'll go to the gym with friends, right? We talk about forming yourself, but to give yourself time to master these habits, to chase these habits, to really cultivate them into your own is a big step. And I think this one goes hand in hand with just understanding that habits are hard. And when you can give yourself time to really just have self-grace, self-forgiveness, to really appreciate your process, it starts to get a little easier to just, you know what, let me just knock it out and do it, right? But you have to give yourself time to have that moment of release in order to come back to center and do it all again.
No, so true. That's a good show, babe.
Yeah, wonderful show. Yeah, so this is a wonderful show. Of course, we're still continuing our series of our mental strength. We had a great part 1 with self-discipline. If you didn't see it, it's 2 shows below this one. And then we, of course, have just continued with part 2 with great healthy habits and forming them. And then we're going to move on to part 3 next Monday. Of course, we have the huddle this Friday. If you missed the last episode, it's with magician George Stanwell. Awesome, amazing show that was so much fun. And I really appreciated him as a great guest. And of course, my wonderful assistants to join us and have fun as well. So what a great show. What a wonderful conversation. Of course, this is what we do here at Faith Family Focus. We just work to grow with each other. And of course, that's the whole point of what this is, right? We're strengthening the family core as we are, but we're also strengthening the mind this series. So I appreciate us Monday morning. So thank you for those who stopped by, mostly Amazon Fire, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, and Apple TV. And most importantly, our key platform out of Phoenix, Arizona, E360 TV. Again, this is Faith Family Focus. Our platform, we try to use our platform as a vehicle to help heal and sustain others and strengthen their own family core. And of course, our slogan.
Let go, let God, let go, let faith, let go, let love.
Everyone have a wonderful week. Set habits this week. Write your goals down. And maybe come visit us on Monday and we'll talk all the way through it. We'll see you guys next week.